Hi there, my name's Nico Pigan. I'm gonna be putting some videos up on YouTube over the next following months. I'm 2 weeks out from an L4 and maybe an L5 lumbar microdiscectomy, and I am going to show YouTubers, like many of you have out there, the recovery and the process that I go through. And this video is just a bit of backstory. In 2 weeks time I've got my pre-operation appointment. They're gonna tell me some things. I'll probably make another video then to relay that information. And yeah, the reason I'm doing it is because I've been watching a lot of people on YouTube, how they've recovered, what they've gone through, and some essential things that they've taught themselves that have helped them through things. And I was hoping that I'll be one of the first British guys to do it, because most people from America, New Zealand, Australia, they all get discharged in day one. I'm going through the NHS, and I will be spending up to 5 days in the hospital. So after my operation, my videos will be from the hospital bed. So a little bit of backstory. I'm 24 years old. I have been in the army for 8.5 years. Been very active for most part of it. I play basketball, I do clay pigeon shooting, and I play five-a-side football quite a lot, plus all the military stuff, swimming, running, and a little bit of weights, not too much. It is April 2016. My pain started in August 2015, where I now know it was sciatic pain. However, back then I'd never had sciatic pain before. I didn't know what it was. My lips look really red. I just had some pasta. So I thought it was a pulled hamstring. So I rested for a few days. Then the weekend came, and the pain on the Monday, it sort of moved up to my backside, and it was on the right side. And it definitely didn't feel like a pulled muscle anymore. So I called the doctor, got an appointment for the next day, and it was that morning of the appointment. I was brushing my teeth in the mirror, sorry, and I felt like I was stood up straight. I wasn't stood up straight. I was crooked, and I'm exactly the same now. I'll stand up in a second and show you what my body looks like. But I went to the doctor. He referred me to the physio. Physio said, I'll do 4 weeks of physio with you, twice a week, and if there's no improvement, we need to get an MRI. So I did the physio and went back to the doctor. She refused me to go get an MRI, whether that was a money-saving tactic or it was just a precautionary, he might get better thing. That's debatable. But I went back and I did 4 weeks more physio. For the first part, I was walking, but it was difficult. I had a sciatic pain that was shooting from sort of the lower right hand side, like top of the back side on the right side, went all the way down into my foot. As time progressed, this pain got worse and worse, and I was beginning to struggle to walk, which is kind of how I am now. But back then I spent 6 weeks just staying in bed, and I did 1 walk a day. I went through a range of medication. So naproxen was the first thing I was prescribed, and I still take that now. I went to cocodamol, the started on a low dose, went to a high dose. That didn't work. Then moved on to tramadol. Tramadol worked fine for about 2 months, but it absolutely destroyed my mind. Before I was very good at remembering things, passwords, courses that I'd done. If you needed a test right at the end, I never wrote any notes down. I used to remember everything. After tramadol, after a month or two on tramadol, my mind is mushed, and it is still the same now, because after tramadol there's morphine, and I'm still on morphine now. I've been on morphine for about 4 months. Take them in the capsules, and for flare-ups you get the old Oromorph solution, and this absolutely knocks you out, and it really dehydrates you. So for anyone that is going to get prescribed morphine, keep a bottle of water beside your bed, keep hydrated throughout the day, because dehydration is one of your worst enemies. The second thing I can tell you you're gonna encounter is, especially if you take the amount of drugs that I am, is constipation. And then constipation, then there's the nosebleeds, because you're taking blood thinners. Naproxen is a blood thinner. Morphine slows down the system inside your body, so you're not going to process food properly, so then you're going to get constipated. And as well as morphine, I'm on diazepam, which is a muscle relaxant. My muscles seize up. If I forget to take a diazepam twice a day, I am stiff, and I can't touch my feet, I can't tie my shoelaces, I can't do nothing. And there's also gabapentin. I started on amitriptyline, which is they're both nerve blockers. Amitriptyline is a smaller dose. It's not very effective in my situation, so they put me on gabapentin. And the range that you can take gabapentin is by personal preference. You can take a lot of gabapentin in one day, so it really dulls it down. But I had an MRI after all the physio. After the second time of physio, I was then given an MRI finally. That was in November 2015. As soon as I had the results, a couple of days later, I booked to see a doctor in Stevenage, Lister Hospital. However, I didn't see him till January. When I went to see him in January, they didn't have the MRI images, and they refused to process me without them. There was a complaint put in. They took their time about it. They really dragged their feet, and then finally they called me back in end of February. It may have beginning of March maybe. And it was just a 5-minute, oh, now we've got your images. And they sent me for a second MRI as well in February. They got both lots of images. There was no change, and they've put me on for surgery. Surgery's now in May 16th, and the pre-op's the week before. I'm gonna try and edit this video. I've never edited videos in my life, but I'm gonna try and put my MRI image on there, and you'll see the huge herniation that I've got, and you'll see the thin black lines and the side of the MRI. That's the actual nerve root, and the various nerves in there. If I can get the top down image in, you can see how much space that I've got. And my next video will be just after my pre-op assessment. They'll probably tell me to stop taking certain drugs like the blood thinners, and I'll have to suffer for a week. That's just the way it is. And I'll just quickly show you what I seen that day when I knew things were going to go bad. If I just put that there, slowly get up. This is me every day. Okay, this is me stood up. I feel like I'm stood up. cannot. I can walk around the house, which is fine. If I'm walking any further than, say, the petrol pump to the counter to pay, I can just about do that. Might have to stop once or twice. Everything else is crutches. Both crutches. I've tried using one crutch for a while. Actually made me worse. So and it's difficult living on crutches because you can't do shopping, because you can't carry them. You can't walk the dog because the dog will pull you. My dog does anyway. And I've lived in pain. For the past 6 months, I've not dropped below 7 out of 10 pain. It's been a real difficult challenge. Sleep is non-existent. I live on 2 or 3 hours, and I might get a couple of hours in during the day, depending on how tired I am. If I take morphine, I definitely sleep for a couple of hours during the day, and that is my life. So my next video, like I said, will be just after my pre-op. I'll keep you posted. I'll try and edit this video for you, get my image on there. If not, I'll put them in the description. Click on the link. If you're going for an MRI, feel free to compare mine. And if you got any questions, leave comments. I will get back to you, all of you, if I can. And I will put up another post in a few weeks.